Hello, guys. Deep dive into the new Tupi civilization coming with the new DLC, The Last Chieftains AoE2. In this, I'm going to read the Steam announcement post. I'm also going to go into the tech tree, show you some of the details in there. And I've tested these units, so I will talk through a little bit about the bonuses and the units and what my thoughts are. All right? So let's get into it. We're going to read through and keep it short and sweet here for the Tupi civilization. The bold, honorable Tupi prowl the eastern jungles, escarpments, is that supposed to say escarpments? And coasts of South America with formidable warbands of infantry and ranged soldiers. Wide geographical distribution grants them easy access to a variety of resources, while prudent frugality promotes sustainable use of arms and armaments. As foreign arrivals reshape the internal and external tribal relations, the Tupi trust in their large numbers and skilled diplomacy to endure whatever adversity comes their way. We'll talk the specifics on this in a second, but the bonuses, they start with additional resources. Villagers can garrison in their settlements, which is their new economic building that only this DLC civs will have. You could drop off any resource at a settlement, basically, and now villagers can garrison in them. Fallen units can or will return a percentage of their cost. Archer range and barracks upgrades cost less food. And then team bonus is towers and castles provide extra population space, which I think is a fun little team bonus, personally. Okay, Blackwood Archer. Tupi bows were usually made with Blackwood and were larger than traditional European bows. The Tupi sometimes made flaming arrows by tying cotton to an arrowhead, dipping it in wax, and then igniting it. They also created poison arrows by using stingray spines as arrowheads. Stingrays? Really? Did that actually happen? I gotta ask my marine biologist fiance about that. Anyways, Blackwood archers are inexpensive and train in pairs, allowing armies of them to be fielded extremely quickly. So yeah, you make one unit, you get two, basically. Thing is, these guys are very low HP. They're only 20 HP. They're very weak, but you do get two at a time, so that's cool. Ibirapema warrior. While Tupi bows were multifaceted weapons, Ibirapema, I got to figure that one out, was imbued with ceremonial significance. It was decorated with feathers and colorful paint and used in ritual killings of enemies. The Tupi also deployed these units in close combat situations. It says these hulking heavy infantry units swing a massive club at enemies, dealing area damage. So you do damage to the group. How much of an area, still to be seen. I have used these. We'll talk about it. But yeah, it does damage to the whole group. And I believe in game it says it does massive frontal damage, which is interesting wording. Okay, unique technologies now. This is rough for me. The Kakikyu was the chieftain of an indigenous tribe. These charismatic leaders boosted the morale of their warriors and took charge of their tactical movements on the battlefield. The effect is champion warriors and slingers attack faster. Percentages to come. Curare is a plant. It is a poisonous plant, and then foot archers and fortifications deal poison damage over time due to this. Interesting one. I have tested this a little bit. It seems pretty strong, in my opinion. Obviously, it's got some cool theming. Here's what the Tupi Castle looks like. That's looking really cozy. Don't light a fire too big in there, or the whole thing's going to burn down. But still, looking pretty cozy for a little wooden castle. I like it. And then here's what the Tupi Wonder looks like. There is a waterfall, guys. There is a waterfall wonder. I have not seen this in the game yet, but I'm guessing that water will move. I love that. I freaking love that. All right, so here we have the tech tree. So you start with plus 25 of each resource. So that's pretty nice. So 125 gold, 225 wood, food, 225 or something. So how much food do you even start with in a game? I feel like I should have that memorized. Is it 250 or is it 200? Either way, you start with extra resources here. Congratulations. Villagers can garrison settlements. Fallen units return 50% of their cost. It is 50% less food for the archery range and barracks upgrades. It is a 25% attack boost for the first unique tech, and then it just says poison damage for the second unique tech. And then towers and castles provide 10 population space to an ally, which is kind of cool. Now, tech tree-wise, it's an archer, skirmisher, slinger civilization, like a lot of these civs in this DLC. The Slingers will end up being crazy strong, like crazy strong because of the 25 extra attack. I mean, in niche situations, of course, because slingers are still slingers. I got to double check on this, but I think they might have just changed the cost of slingers in general. I don't recall slingers not costing any gold. So that's something to keep in mind with any slinger bonuses. Slingers were costed gold before this patch. So that's big. Here's the champy. We talked about this in the other video. This is basically your starting scout, and then you can upgrade it. Think of like starting with a militia as your starting scout almost, and you can work your way through. I think with the barracks upgrades being cheaper, is very nice, and starting with extra res, I think we could see like some early Dark Age harass with these champies, and then just staying with them for most of the game. You do get Halb with this Civ, and then here is the unique unit they were talking about. Yeah, powerful frontal area damage, and per the description before, it does like area around, right? So a little bit of like AoE damage. 30 food, 60 gold, which isn't bad. It's a bit heavy on gold for an infantry unit, but it's not bad. The food cost being cheap is really nice. So in theory, you should be able to make a decent amount of these guys. But yeah, that's the situation with the unit I'm going to have to learn to pronounce. Ibirapema? Could have sworn there was like some weird crazy fish called an Arapaima. That's what I think of when I see this. Anyways, Siege, you've got a Siege Ram. You don't get Siege Onager. You don't get Bomber Cannons, of course. But I think it's good to have Siege Ram with an infantry civ. I think having infantry and Siege Ram is a really nice combination. So that's good. Blacksmith-wise, they lack cav upgrades almost entirely. Well, entirely because they can't make cav, of course. They lack Blast Furnace, so they're not fully upgraded with their melee units and their ships now. Navy-wise seems pretty strong. The new Navy is going to be a change that everyone's going to have to get used to for all civs. So I won't speak too heavily about this just yet. And then you move into the university. You are missing siege engineers. You are missing masonry. So you are missing fortified walls. So not a very good like defensive civ. And then here's the Blackwood Archer. This unit is very hit or miss for me, which is actually a nice thing to hear because I think it can be very strong and very weak in some situations, which is how the game should be balanced, right? Again, you get 2 units for every single one you produce. That's cool. I think for them to be really good, you have to have a lot of them with a meat shield, and then you have to hope that the poison damage ends up working out for you. But yeah, I played around with this unit. It can be good, and it can be very much not good, so it has some bad matchups in there. Monastery is not very strong for this civ. Missing block printing, atonement, and fervor. Fervor's not the biggest deal, but atonement and block printing in Monk Wars would be a problem. And then, of course, you move this way, and you just see the settlement, and it shows what you can and cannot get here. But yeah, much like the Muisca, this civilization is all an early game civ. Starting with extra resources, villagers being able to garrison in settlements, like cheap infantry. Like I really could see a lot of early harass on open maps with this civ. I wouldn't expect that any of these civs in this DLC to be very good in close situations, because they lack things like bombard cannon and gunpowder and just like really tanky units. It's for the most part, well, no, not for the most part. It is like pretty much all foot soldiers or siege. So yeah, problematic if you get up against some really tanky units, I would say. But with the units being cheap, with the economy being pretty good, you definitely have your early game flexibility and you have your early game window. Plus, you could be a pretty good ally with the towers and castle bonus. So yeah, I did play some civilizations with Tupi. Unfortunately, at the time of recording this, Capture does not allow me to have any game footage with this. So what we will have is non-Capture Age game footage here, just to show you a couple of the units from when I played a game. I'm going to eventually get a full cast to you guys once Capture Age is working. I think they're working on that. And I'll bring as much content as I can with the new DLC on top of everything else that I typically do. I tried to keep this short. I tried to keep this speedy. Would love to hear your thoughts on about the DLC and about this civ. I personally really like this civ, and I think it's great that the civilization is not immediately bonkers, right? I've been critical of DLCs recently because the civs have way too many bonuses or way too many gimmicky bonuses, and at the very least are way too strong, and they make the other civs feel like they're kind of left out. Don't feel this way about the Tupi. I think there will be some good things that you could do with this civ, but it will be by no means pay-to-win civilization here. So, yeah, good stuff. I'll look forward to your comments, guys, and more content coming. See ya.